Alright, here's our first timed thrust test. Stabilizer on, lifting thrusters on, initiate timer now. Okay, timer's going down. And thrusters automatically shut off. And it did it, it worked. Look at this. Green was not too happy that I forgot to mention that he made these mattresses. These buffer impact mattresses. So he put his signature on top. What a smart ducky. Oh, can't fit under there. Green. That's why I like for people to use their signatures whenever they build anything, because it helps me to remember who did what around here. So thank you, Green, for a lesson in signatures. Alright guys, I have a confession I need to make to all my YouTube watchers. And to anyone else who watches, random watchers, stuff like that. I have a really hard time with logic gates. But you know what? It doesn't mean we all need to suffer. So, in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to make a timer. Something that will start an event, have that event continue for a duration, and then shut off. Just a basic timer. I know the game comes with timers, but the game doesn't really show you a whole lot about how to use them in that way. Stuff you sort of have to figure out on your own. So stick around, and if you're really interested in that type of control scheme, that's not analog, it's digital, and we'll go into why I'm doing it digital, why that's so important in this type of scenario, when we come back from our little commercial break. Okay guys, welcome back to the lab. I created a few illustrational tools to try to help you guys understand what's going on with these logic gates and timers. We're familiar with time, most of us, especially me, in an analog sense where you've got like a clock, and a clock is basically for every 30 degrees that the shorthand moves, you'll get a 360 degree movement from the longhand, and that's sort of how we measure time. So we got the fast red duck zipping around and the slow blue duck, and we would just set up sensors that would be triggered at certain times, and we could do this in a mechanical way. But because the tolerances for weight for this vehicle is so tight, and keeping it solid and it not having any moving parts on it is so important for it to maintain its trajectory, I was kind of forced into the realm of the digital here with the logic gates to try to figure out how to create this same kind of event, our mechanical events, in a digital, I guess, realm here. And for that, you gotta put your egghead hat on and take a look at these different components. The timer, I've set it to 3 seconds, which the game calls 120 ticks. I'm not sure exactly what a tick is, but I'm sure you'll be glad to tell me in the description. The only tick I know about is the kind that bites you and tries to suck your blood. But when you have two logic gates, a NOR gate, which says active if all the links triggered are inactive, and a XNOR gate, which is called active if an even number of link triggers are active, and you connect a switch to the NOR and then a switch to your timer, and then the timer to the XNOR gate, and use your XNOR gate as an output to what you're trying to do. I'll try my best to explain what's going on here in the least confusing way. We've got a signal going to the to the NOR. And when that switch is on, the NOR is off, because this is only active if all the link triggers are inactive. So I'm going to assume by active it means that this timer isn't doing anything. So when I flip my switch, the timer runs its 3-second duration, and for that duration the thruster fires. But then, because the thruster, I believe, stopped being inactive, or stopped being active. Gosh, there's like no easy way to explain this. Even I'm confusing myself trying to talk about this. Alright, look. Okay. Here's what I settled on so far. Build yourself a board like this, alright? Put your logic gates on. Put your timer on. And just start connecting stuff. What I found is by using a NOR and an XNOR, I was able to create an arrangement that did what I wanted it to do. This is basically how you're going to have to figure it out, guys, because it's a really abstract thing, and until you put your workboard out, you put the things that you want to do, certain things, and then you start wiring stuff together and seeing where the arrows go and just start hitting buttons. It's really hard to explain it. It is so hard. But here's what you could count on from me. In order to get a thruster to fire for a duration that you want, that would be controlled by a timer, whether the timer is charging or discharging. And what I mean by that is, this is the timer charging, and for the duration of the charge, the thruster went off. Turn it off. This is the timer discharging, and for the duration of the discharge, the thruster went off. What you need to do, alright, is have a NOR gate, have an XNOR gate, have a timer, your thruster, and a switch. This is the sequence. From the switch, you go to the NOR and to the timer. Then from the timer, you go to the XNOR, and from the NOR, you go to the XNOR. The XNOR is your output that you put to your thruster, and that's it. Let's not make this any more confusing than it needs to be. I was making my own head hurt trying to explain it, but this works. Other neat stuff for you to do and experiment with is try connecting different things together and seeing what happens. Like, I connected the output of the timer not only to this logic gate, but I connected it to this one too. And now, when I turn it on, it fires off the thruster while the timer is charging, but it doesn't fire the thruster when the timer discharges, and it just does one quick little thrust at the end. So, really, the best way to learn about these things is just to lay them out on a board, start routing stuff, and start seeing if you get the result you want. Because, I mean, I'm not really a very, very, very abstract reasoning person, but I was able to get at least my first sequence to work, which is the durational firing of my thrusters. The next thing is going to be even harder to do, but I think we'll be able to figure it out if we work together, guys. So, I'm going to do one more test fire, and hopefully you guys were able to pick something useful up out of this video. I might even, let's see. On, and that initiates the timer. You see it going there in the back. And then, once the timer finishes, the thrusters will cut off, and I will hit a mattress. And that was it. You guys could do it. If I could do it, and I know so very little about these types of things, you guys could definitely do it. So keep dreaming, keep building. Whoa! And yeah, keep working the kinks out of your builds. So adios amigos. Bye bye.